Hello and welcome. I've just created a spreadsheet from the last video that I did regarding the Litecoin and Bitcoin cross. These are all the different numbers. And I want to try this using the gain both strategy, where in this case you want to gain both Litecoin and in this DGB. So therefore I've made a spreadsheet and this is where I would be buying and selling. So therefore, I've got the open, assuming you'd have a 500,000 DGB and 100 of the Litecoin. So therefore, on the first trade in here at 16,000, it would be selling Litecoin to buy that of DGB. When the market goes up, that means the value of Litecoin increases that over the DGB one. In the first one, I put in a sell of 75,000, or I bought 75,000, which would have cost about 4 Litecoin. I probably increase these every time, maybe 100,000 here, costing 3.8, and I should be copying and pasting this all the way down. There's about close to 50 rows here, 49, not including the first 7. That's over 40 trades along the way. So therefore it goes up to 37. Let's just, you'd increase these a little bit. Like say 130,000, that would be like about 3.4 Litecoin. You're down to 88. You've only distributed 12% of your Litecoin portfolio. And now the price goes up to 50, so let's just go at maybe 175,000 now, costing you about the same, another 3.4 spot. You're at 805, then we go to 70. So let's say you get another, let's just say you do 180, let's go 200,000. After all, it's going to be relatively cheap compared to the 3.4. And let's even do 220 just to round it up, and because it's only 2.8. So 1.2 million you'd have of these coins. You'd have 81.5 Litecoin. Still going up, so maybe we go 300,000 here. And the prices are getting a little bit lower, but that's fine, that's fine. And now we finally get the opposite end where we would be selling. The price would go from 98 to here. We'd have 1.5 million. So therefore maybe we sell the 300,000 that we did from before. Okay. And now what we can see is that would cost 5.5. Okay. Let's sell some more. We are selling from a ratio going to 54. Actually, it was 300 a lot. Let's see. See, this was a buy. No, of course, we look back. That was only a differential of 13 basis points. That's like a little better than 1.2x. So I would be really reluctant. I'd probably go 250,000 back here again. And I'd even have to go less here because that's just such a small play. And even 175,000 here. That would work out really well. Okay. So now it goes down to 10. This was a big differential here. Now if we look at it here, we have managed to sell less than we received here. So we'll just bold these two together because they go together. We able to gain 50,000 DGB, gain 1.5 Litecoin. And then this one in here, which had 220,000 DGB we bought. Well, we only sold 175 and we were managing to gain well over 1 Litecoin again. So this one in here, where we sold 175, well, we matched that sale. So you know what, maybe you want to go like say 150,000 instead. And therefore we would have gained 25,000 DGB and gain over one Litecoin on that transaction. And this is when it went down to 10,000. So therefore, if I add these two numbers together, 3.8 plus 3.5 almost, that gives me about 7.25 from 230,000. So if I do 175,000 here, I would get 15 Litecoin. Not bad. So let's bold these together. Now this goes to 76, so we're looking to buy back this one here. If we sell, say, 50,000 of them, it was 4.65, now it's this in here. And when you started this, you had 100 LTC and 500,000 of this. Now you got 14 more Litecoin and 200,000 more of these coins. So therefore, we're going to be back up in here again. The market, and this is now we're going like a double move. So we can go aggressive amounts, not necessarily half. But if you had 700,000 of them, I mean 250,000, that's 16 Litecoin. Is it really worth that aggressive of a play? Well, maybe we'll go a little less. 175 would be 12 Litecoin. That's pretty good. Then it goes down even more. Okay, well, we still have over 100 Litecoin. This is a decent sized decline. So let's go 200,000. And now this goes back up. So we're trading, we're trying to get, we're switching this one as the market switches hands. Actually, wait a second. This is lower. So let's undo this. I was looking at this thing like this. Things don't look right, and now I see what it is. So because this goes lower, we're trying to make a transaction on this one in here. So if we get rid of, say, 125,000, we would make a gain of both. That's what we're trying to do, is gain both coins for accumulation. Now, what's not going to be talked about this is when the coins are big against the dollar, then you probably want to sell both of the Litecoin and DGB for two purposes, not counting to get into other coins because you're profiting. But one, against the dollar for hedging and for price retracements going lower against such, and for real profit taking, using it for buying precious metals into fiat cash or just out of the crypto space, in portions, of course. Okay, so now we go back. This one here, when the market goes up, we go on this side here, and let's now say we see go from 9 to 14. So let's do 150,000, say. That's 10 Litecoin. Then it goes up big, 14 to 23. So therefore, let's do it again, maybe 200,000. Is that's good, costing 8.4. Then the move to 89. Well, let's get this one back. Let's get rid of, say, 100 and... Oh, that's 100,000. What would that do? Let's do a little more. So gaining 90, even 100, even 120. So now I'd be gaining 80,000 DGB and gaining about 5 Litecoin within just these two trades in here. And then we would have another trade on this side here. So let's just put in, say, 150,000. And then it goes back down to 71, which we're going to be making our flip in here. So let's just do, see what, and that's 14 to 7. So if you give back 100,000, you're gaining 50,000 DGB. You're gaining about almost 3.5 Litecoin, 3 2/5. Not too shabby. So now we can work about getting this one back now. Where 150,000 were sold for 10. So if we sell another 100,000 here, we would get 19. I don't even have to think we have to do as many of that. We can do like 80,000. Well, not 80, but for 15. So that's a tremendous gain. Now everything at this stage after this one has now gotten into buyback territory. And what do we got for inventory? Well, we would have close to 1 million of those DGBs, which is double from what you had before. And you had a higher Litecoin balance, you were stronger in Litecoin to start than you were DGB. But you have 30 more Litecoin. Gain and a gain. You're just gaining coins. That's what you're trying to do. So now we have a move from 51. Maybe we go about 175,000 of these coins. It continues to go in this direction. So therefore, we got 22 Litecoin. That was pretty large. And is probably too many, I would have to think. So let's just bring this up to 100,000. That's 12 Litecoin. And then you go from 8 to 12, so maybe you'd want to go 150,000. And then it goes up to 21. So you still got 1.2 million. So you would be costing you less. You don't almost want to go more than that. Yeah. 9 Litecoin. I mean, you still bring it to 96 after the trade. The new numbers are the ones on the bottom. But here we have a buyback, so we're buying back this one. We had a 200,000 trade from before, and we're going from 21 to 12. So let's see what happens if you do 160. We gain some Litecoin. That's what the job here is to do. And then we have it go back onto here. So let's say go for another 200,000. I mean, it's less than what it did before, so why not? And then the price goes down again. So we'll take care of this order. Guess we do the same thing, sort of thing again. 160,000. And up we go here. I mean, it's up to 205. You can go for, if you buy 250,000 of these things, it would cost you 12 Litecoin, which is still lower than this. And then it goes down to 10.9. So why not just get rid of, like, say, 130,000? What would that do anyway? Oh, you got to do more than that, of course. Let's do 180, even 90. So here we have a gain of 60,000 DGB and a gain of over 5 Litecoin amongst just those two trades. And then we have it go back here again. I mean, we want to buy for maybe 14 or 13 Litecoin. So do 275. And now this one here, this is, okay, how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we got this one to buy back. Do we have any others in here? We got these two as well. So therefore, we want to, we got 13.6 plus 11.7. That's 25 and a half almost. 38, about 38 Litecoin. So therefore, let's just see what happens. So we have 275, 375, 5 and a quarter. Let's just do 350. Oh my goodness, that is just incredible. Now, could you afford to sell 350? Or, yeah, because you would go from 1.6 how do you not? You go from 1.6 to 1.2. You gain 95 Litecoin. So everything that you bought back on that, I mean, you're double from what you start. You started with 100, and now you'd be at 200, and then it goes down even further. Well, these ones are all canceled out. You're like, okay, now you're in a new territory. Okay, so we'll just do the buybacks on the opposite end now, moving forward, because this keeps going lower. Now you're not going to expect that it's going to happen, but you want to be ready for it. You just sold 350,000 of your 1.6. Now the market goes from 36 to 22. You technically could even get away with like 400 or 500, whatever thousand, but we'll just go 250,000. I mean, you're talking 111 Litecoin, big stakes already. But that's what you want, is to be a big stakes player. Now it goes 25 to 14. So then you got 1 million. Maybe you do 200,000. I mean, that's still 138 Litecoin. Now we got 878. You're left with 815,000. If there's ever times you think about selling it, obviously we know it wins, but that's the whole point. We're entering into that situation. If you sold it at a 1443, you were still right. But we're not going to do that. We're always going to have coins no matter what in this type of strategy. But you can still get away with selling 200,000. That's a quarter of what you own. And now you're getting 227 Litecoin. Now you got over 607, and it's 670. It's even going to go higher here. Because you're going 87. Now you maybe want to slide back a bit because selling 200 is a third, which again, I think during the market conditions is fine. So now we have an extreme move here. So let's just do one at a time. You went from 492 to 1535. Let's get this one back. How many DGB can you buy here? I mean, you bought 300 frickin' Litecoin on that. Wow, I mean, the strategy might be pretty good. But continue on further. I mean, we talk about profit taking and this stuff, but we'll throw that part aside. 100 Litecoin worth? What would you get for 100 Litecoin worth? I know the price is 15, so let's just try to go. Oh, no, about 100 Litecoin I'd be wanting to buy worth, I think. So let's just do 150,000. And what you've done is you've managed to get it back up to 615, which is a reasonable amount. You go from 980 Litecoin to 883. And you would also expect that in the wild moves that it could easily go much higher, which it sure enough does. So now let's get this one back here. And what was 200,000 for 227? Again, we can look to get about 100 Litecoin. What would 150,000 do? We can probably do more than that. We could do 300,000. Done. And then we go to this 58. Same thing here. I want to spend less, but now I want to spend less than that, and maybe because this is maybe go for like 6. Well, let's just see what 400,000 will buy me. Okay, let's just even do 300,000. So it cost you 51 Litecoin. And then we go up to 10 here. So we got one of these to go back, and this is for 250,000, which was for 111. I wouldn't mind even going 60 or 70 if I could, but I want to go over 300,000. Let's just see what 400 would cost me. Let's even go a half then. So now we're gaining, and the gain, like, oh, we're getting 50 plus Litecoin. We're gaining 500,000 DGB, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so be it. I mean, it's just normal extreme profitability trading. So now all the buybacks you have done are all completed. Everything I've done is bold. So everything you have bought and sold is bought and back at this stage. You started with a measly 100 Litecoin and a measly 500,000 DGB. You've done a much better job of increasing Litecoin, which is fine. And if you notice that, man, that was a mistake, well then sell a couple hundred Litecoin at this time. Whatever, but you would see that get it from a measly 10 to a much higher 690 while gaining altcoins along the way. Not bad. And when I say not bad, fantastic. So here we are, just another buy. Now how many, I mean, you got 690 Litecoins. Buy another, buy 750,000. I mean, it's went up so much. And now we have a spot where we can transact to this. So what happens if we sell 500,000 of them? Oh, we'd get 53 Litecoin. Okay, done. And by the way, I'm using 0.2% rake as if rake really means much when we're seeing these types of moves. Oh, down to 39 on this one. Oh, really? Well, how much does a million get us? We only got 2 million. If we can oh, that's way too much at 250. Okay, how much is 250,000? Actually, we're on the wrong side. That's why that makes sense. We're supposed to sell here. Okay. Because it's going down. Makes sense. So at 500,000, we are talking about a new order now. We own 1.965 million of these things, selling for a move that goes from 93 to 4,000. So I think 500,000 would work out. Technically speaking, that's monstrous moves. You get 116 Litecoin. Then it goes down some more. We're going from 4,000 to 25. We could probably even... Now the reason why you can take, like, look at, you're taking 1/4 of your stack, 25% for a move of better than double X kind of deal. Here, you're taking 1/3 of your stack. Do I want to sell 500,000? Probably not. 300,000 would still get me a decent amount of Litecoin. So now let's get this transaction back. If we buy, say, 500, that'd probably be too much. Yeah, sort of. So let's do 450. And then it comes back here again. Okay. Let's, you got 50 to 28. I mean, you could literally go, I mean, I was thinking 650,000, but 450,000 could be an easy play. Just take 159 Litecoin while you're at it. Just 159. And the thing about it is these kind of numbers these aren't that large of numbers to go into a big exchange and just accumulate, just make this kind of trade. Now, it's little bit of work. You may get a little worse of a ratio. So to get 159, this is Litecoin receive. You might have to sell to get 159. Maybe you have to sell 472 or something. But you know what? So be it. That's fine. And then we're going to do this one here. So it goes back up to this number here. So I just buy like 600,000. And let's just put this number in here so we can get what the number would be. Okay, at this time, where we would be at now, if you did this way back when, starting with 100 Litecoin and 500,000 DGB, you would have seen your Litecoin go up about 9 times. And see this go up about 3.7 times. Maybe I was a little bit biased cheering for Litecoin. But you know what, though? That's fine if you go either way like that. But you can see the phenomenal moves and that can happen, what you can do with your portfolio if you're able to understand a system like this, execute it, which means just be focused, understand, okay, this is not a time to buy, this is not a time to sell, I need this number to go up a certain amount. But when you can get like 40, 60, 80, 120, 160% moves on one side like this, and then the type of moves that the buybacks you can get are just phenomenally amazing. Take care.